Hey everybody, welcome on in. It's time for ClayShare's Live at 5. That is our weekly live tutorial, and guess what? It's August. So that means it's Diamond Core Tools Month here at ClayShare. So we have been doing Diamond Core Tools Months, oh my gosh, maybe as long as ClayShare's been around. But I know Diamond Core Tools has been one of my sponsors and my work since 2014. So we have a long relationship. I love them. They're like family. So every year I'm always thrilled to have them collab with me during the month of August. Of course, I use Diamond Core Tools all year long, but August gives us a chance to really highlight them and their products. So tonight I am doing a live broadcast for you right now where we're gonna do a Sgraffito demo. And then after this at 6:15 p.m., I'm gonna do a Mishima. Now both of these are based on embroidery designs. So if you like to sew and you're interested in embroidery and you make pottery, this is right up your alley. And I'm gonna walk you through all the steps to carving. And I'm gonna be using the Diamond Core Tools Diamond Stylus Tools. Say all that 3 times fast. And these right here are a set we're giving away tonight. We're giving these away. Okay, we're going close. We're giving these away. And the way you enter our giveaways is you go to clayshare.com and sign up for our emails. If you're a premium member, you're automatically entered. Now I want to show you close up this finished piece that I have here in front of me. It's so pretty. If you can see the design on that. And this is what I'm going to show you how to carve tonight. So we're going to do this together. And it's really easy. It's white clay, you can see right there. And then I put blue underglaze and then I carved through it. And so I'll talk about Sgraffito. I have a couple dozen classes on ClayShare all about Sgraffito. So if you're new to it and you want more in-depth tutorials, go check it out on ClayShare. We are also giving away tonight a Diamond Core Tools Soolla bag right here. And we're gonna have giveaways all month long. And again, you enter, just go to clayshare.com and sign up for our emails. Premium members, automatically entered, as always. So next week, a little note in programming, I will be in Waukesha, Wisconsin, doing in-person classes at the Fired Arts Expo. So if you haven't signed up yet, go to firedartsexpo.com and you can sign up. It's not just me. There's so many other teachers there that have amazing classes. There's also products for sale. So if you're in Waukesha or feel like a road trip to Waukesha, so you can say you went to Waukesha, then do it, because I'm going to be there teaching, and Diamond Core Tools is going to be doing the demo on their social media. So that's where you'll check it out next week. So it won't be here on ClayShare. It'll be on Diamond Core Tools. So let me talk about the tools. Let me show you the tools up close for a sec, because this is the set they have on special this week. Each week there's going to be a new special tool featured, and these right here are this week's. And my favorite Diamond Core tool, like since they've introduced it, is this guy right here, the L3. That is the Diamond Stylus tool. That is a large football on one end and a small football on the other end. See that little tiny football shape on the end, and there's a little bit bigger one over there on this end, right there. And then the other two that are in the set, the L2, which has a really nice fine point right here, and then it has this crown, which is this end here. I know they're so tiny, but they are amazing. And then this one is the ball tool. So it has like little tiny like micro ball on this end, and then this end a slightly bigger one. So these are for really fine detail work. And I use them for Sgraffito, but I also use them for Mishima. So don't think they have to be one or the other. You can use them for both. So you need this set. You have the football, but the other two. I love them all. I've done a lot of carving with all 3 of them. So, all right. What else do you need to do if you're going to do some Sgraffito? Well, Sgraffito, as you know, or you've heard me say, if you haven't, then welcome, and I'll get to tell you, means to scratch in Italian. So what you're doing is you're scratching away a layer, revealing whatever's underneath. And the way this technique works is you need contrast. So you either need to have a light colored clay like I have here, and then put a dark underglaze or slip or engobe on, and then you carve through the dark, revealing the light clay that's underneath it. So this is a piece that I did. This is a finished piece, so you can see it's glazed, and this is how a piece can look. There's lots of different looks you can get with Sgraffito. So on this one, it's Laguna B-Mix 5, and then the blue is Speedball Royal Blue. If I went the other way, I could go ahead and use a dark clay with a light underglaze or engobe, like a white one, and carve through that, and you get the opposite. So you can really, whatever clay you're using, you can do this. It works best with smoother clays. That means clay that doesn't have sand or grog in it, but if you want to try it with grog, you can. The only issue that comes up is that the grog gets caught sometimes. So here's some bigger pieces I've done that are Sgraffito, and I don't think they're gonna fit on the close-up camera. We could try to show the detail, but this is a composite vase. So my ClayShare members, you guys know we're doing assemblage pottery this month for our challenge. This is 100% an assemblage. It's a throne pedestal base, a throne vase body, and a throne neck, and then 2 handles attached to it. So it's an amphora, my version of one, that has a slip on the entire thing, and then I carved through. So let me show you the pattern up close on camera too, because I could show that. So you can see the brown is the slip, and that's just Guernsey borate and iron oxide, 50% of each. And it's technically a wash, not a slip, but I apply it thick like a slip, and that's how I get this. And then I left it on the base, and on the top I didn't carve there, I just carved the middle, because I really wanted to highlight the body of this piece here. So that's a fun way to do Sgraffito. And then here's another piece, and you guys doing the challenge, right up your alley. Here's a pedestal bowl, which has a throne base and a throne top that were attached. I mean, you could do it this way if you wanted to have fun with it, but it's meant to be this way. But you can see the Sgraffito is the carving. So again, it's the darker color on the lighter clay carved back. All right, so that gives you a little bit of what Sgraffito is, because there's lots of different carving, and Sgraffito specifically means to scratching through. So we're scratching through a layer. So this one's finished as far as the scratching part. I'm going to show you how to do one and set it up for scratching. And don't worry if you say Sgraffito wrong. It can be, if you see it spelt out, sometimes it's hard to pronounce things. Believe me, I know, if you haven't heard it said. So Sgraffito is definitely one of them. Okay, so I like to work on a leather hard piece of clay, ideally smooth. This could be a wheel thrown piece, it could be a hand-built piece. I happen to be using a hand-built piece here. Just because that's what I had handy. And we'll go, I think, to the overhead. So that, yeah, there you go. I gotta have a little OCD moment. I gotta make sure it's lined up better so that you all can see it. So this piece was made 2 days ago, and it has been sitting in the studio waiting patiently for me to get back to it. So it's a nice dry leather hard, but it's not drying past leather hard. It's staying right at the leather hard stage, which is what I want for this technique. So, like I mentioned, engobe, slip, whatever you want to use, it's up to you. And you're going to put a coat or 2 on depending on what you're using. With the speedball underglazes, I find that I only need 1 good coat. If for some reason it's too thin, then I go ahead and put a 2nd coat on. You just got to wait a little bit, or the clay will collapse. So, like to see how I throw those assemblage pieces, Kathy? Those will happen, don't worry. As part of a ClayShare class, they'll be, we have done, what did we do? We've done something already. I think the teapot maybe, I don't know. I have to go back and look. You'll have to search on ClayShare, wheel throwing classes. All right, so if you want to put any of the slip on the outside, which you can do if you want to. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I go ahead and I do that one first. Now this underglaze will not stick to my kiln shelf at cone 5, 6 temperatures. I've not tried it at cone 10. It might run because blues sometimes with the cobalt that's in there, sometimes they run. Let me check, did I do that? See, the back of this I barely did any blue. I just did a little band of it. And other pieces, I don't even put any on at all. All right, so we do the back first, and then let's do the front. So a piece like this, because it's small, it's really easy to do. I just take a fan brush, get a nice coating of underglaze on it, and then I just smooth it on. Now I want my underglaze to be brushable and not gloppy. So this is the consistency of heavy cream. And I just smooth it out. I don't want it to be uneven. Now with bigger pieces, I will use a banding wheel, and I'll actually put the plate on the banding wheel. And as I spin the banding wheel, I just lay the brush down on it and apply it. Premium members, I filmed doing this piece from start to finish, from a lump of clay to the end, and I'll be editing that and putting it up as a clay quickie. Probably next week you'll get this. I might wait till it's out of the kiln though, so you might have to wait another week after when I get back from Wisconsin. So I really want to share that with you. All right, we got so much to do tonight. I'm so excited. Are you guys excited? All right, do you see how shiny it is? We cannot carve this right now. This would be a gloppy, goopy mess, and we would not be happy with the results. So we're gonna let this sit. So I let this usually sit till the next day. Now with anything, you wanna cover it, because if it dries too fast, then you won't be able to carve it. I like my pieces to be a nice leather hard, around chocolate bar level of dryness. So not, you know how when clay starts to dry, it changes color, goes a little lighter? We don't want that happening. If it starts to do that, then you've waited a little bit too long and you need to carve it quickly. So I have a piece that I did yesterday, and it's a much bigger piece that we're gonna carve together. So I had it wrapped in plastic, as you saw. Actually, that was a really good thing to show you. I had the entire thing wrapped in plastic, and I did have a weight bag on top, because I don't want this warping. It is hand built, and sometimes if you don't use weight bags, they can warp. So I had a weight bag on it so that it wouldn't warp. And now we're ready to carve. And I do see I've got a few, my weight bags are made of cat litter, so I have a little kitty litter escaped. So we're just gonna get that off. Oh, you love the special we have for joining ClayShare for a year? Yeah, you know, if you sign up for a year with ClayShare, it's like getting 2 months free. It's the best deal. So if you are signing up month to month, switch your membership to yearly and you save 2 months of membership. Like, it's a no-brainer. It's easy to do. And believe me, just one class is worth the entire year's membership. So just do it. Don't even think. All right, I draw a lot. And right now, since I've been doing some embroidery, I'm really inspired by embroidery. So I started doing some embroidery patterns, and this one is pretty good. These are just started, I haven't finished them. You can kind of see they look a little empty, don't you think, compared to this? So this is the one I picked, and you can see I was playing around with different flowers, and this is how I come up with designs. I just scribble, and actually I'm going to show you something most people won't show you. I'm going to show you my page of not so great drawings. Look at, see, everything has to start with ideas. And these are not so great. These are just like, I'm working on flower petal shapes. I'm thinking about how the vines might be, leaves. But you have to do the bad drawings to get the good drawings. And then these doodles become designs I can carve. And you can do this too. I actually have a whole series of classes that is drawing for potters to teach you how to draw so that you can carve your pottery. I'm not trying to teach you how to be an illustrator. I just want to teach you enough skills so you can carve with confidence on your pottery. Okay, we're going to make a mess when we carve. So let's put a sheet of plastic under and brush off any excess kitty litter. Are we ready? We're going to line it. We're going to do this. I'm going to carve. I'm going to try not to have my hand in the way of the camera, but I am right-handed, and the camera is on the right over there. So the side camera, I'm going to try not to make a mess. So do I wait till the underglaze is a little dry before you put the plastic over it? Yes, that's a very, very good question. Thank you for asking that. So this piece right here, do you see how it's still shiny? If I lay plastic on it right now, it is gonna stick to the plastic, and when I lift it up the next day, it's gonna smear it. So we're gonna let this sit a couple hours until it's dry to the touch, and if I touch this right now, I will leave a fingerprint mark and mar the surface. You can see the shine over there? So you have to have patience. Sgraffito is a multi-day commitment. You make it one day. If you're a wheel thrower, you throw it one day, you trim it the next day. Usually the trimming day, you can add your underglaze, but then you have to wait till the next day to carve. So day 1 is throw, day 2 is trim and underglaze or slip, and then day 3 is carve. So it's really 3 days that you're committing to, and it's absolutely the same if you're a hand builder. I made this Monday. Yesterday I was able to put the underglaze on it, and today we're gonna carve it. So it is a kind of thing you can't say, I have 15 minutes to work in the studio this week. I mean, you could cover it really well, and maybe you can keep it moist, and that could work. So, Cheryl, you're very welcome. I am 100% about like sharing everything with the process and pottery. So this design right here, this would be great if we were doing a border, but we're gonna do a curve. So all I'm gonna do is, you see this design right here, it's just really a wiggly line. You can do a wiggly line. You can carve a wiggly line. And if you're watching and you want to screenshot this page, I'm okay with you doing that. And you can use this design right here if you would like to. And I will actually grab my one that's drying. And you notice I have weight bags on this one, because I don't want this to warp as it dries. So you can see what happened, how full this is. There's a lot on here. And the white, it's not as contrasty right now, but it will pop once it's glaze fired, because these lines are white and the blue is a dark royal blue. So this will definitely pop. Although right now it's not so much, but this is what we're gonna get. So this is the squigglies, but they are not in a straight line, although you could do like stripes of the pattern. And that's kind of like what I did here. So if you see that, do you see how I kind of did them in stripies? So the fun thing about this is I can take one design and I can adapt it so many ways. All right, let's get to carving. So I'm just gonna start in the middle, and I'm gonna do a swirl. And then my wiggly line. And I'm just gonna kind of wiggle as I go around, and I'm gonna go to the middle at the bottom. So I just did draw bad lines, right? So do I prefer paper or iPad when I doodle? Ooh, such good questions. Everything starts on paper for me. I'm so old school, and I'm always, look, there's more. Oh, there's some, there, oh, what, huh? Oh, what's that? Yeah, I'm a big paper person. So what I will do is I will doodle it on paper and get it, and then I use my iPad and I take a photograph of my drawing, and then I use my iPad to kind of refine it. And then I save it as a PNG, bring it into Illustrator, do an image trace, and now it's vector art, so that I can use these designs if I want to on a rolling pin or a mat. A little more information than you want. All right, let's do this part. All right, so we did half. We set up kind of a frame. Now let's do the other half. And I went this way there. So let's go this way here. So we're going in the opposite direction. And we're just gonna swirl it around. And then big swirl up here to end it. As I'm working, I have a bucket off to the side of, well, my work water, right? And so as these crumbs form, I want to get rid of them. So I just lift my plate up, and I'm sorry you won't be able to see that, but I just brush them off. So there's a good start, right? And I am using the L3 to set this all up. All right, now I have to decide where my little offshoots are going to be. So I'm going to do it at the widest point of my line. So we're just going to go out that way. We'll do one over here. So I'm just going to go around and add little swirls, and this is just creating a framework for my design. But you can just do little squiggles. And what I really hope is if you're new to carving, I don't want you to be intimidated. I just want you to try it. Just put some slip on the clay and do a carving and see what happens. Don't worry about what other people are doing. I've been carving for over 20 years, so I can pick up clay and just carve anything in it without really thinking, but that is only because I've carved for so long. So please don't think if you're starting out that you should see my early carvings. They're horrific. So yeah, this shape is based on my great grandmother's platter that I have. And we actually just have a new line of rim templates that are going to be available. I think we're going to get them out by Friday. Okay, so we have a really nice shape going on, and this is good for a border. Now, I'm just going to do some little kind of, they're like single petals in here. And I'm just going to go along and do that. They sort of cluster together. I've done classes that are really much more geometric, so if you're not into florals or organic patterns, go check out some of my past tutorials, because on there I really share a lot of different things, because I know everybody has different styles and likes different things. So, you know, if you see somebody carving florals and you're like, yeah, I don't like florals though, so I'm not going to carve. I don't want that to be the thing that keeps you from working. So we've got one side. Let me brush that off and you can see it. So we've got kind of an outline on one side. They almost look like dragon scales, actually, now that I'm looking at them here. So if dragon scales could be a flower petal, that's what we have. Let's see if there's any other questions. So the red-handled tool is the small football, large football, and I am going to use the some of the other ones in the set. I might use all three in the set tonight. And often when I'm working, I do just grab them and switch them out. And I think right now the set, is it 90 for the set? 89 for the set? 89, which is like buy two, get one free, basically. It's really a good deal. So we're going to add a little depth by creating sort of an extra petal, it looks like, but it's really just supposed to be the top, like we're looking between, like a petal that would be back, front, so you're looking down inside. Maybe sort of a foxglove. I mean, these don't actually exist, these particular things I'm drawing in real life, but I mean, they might look like something you've seen. And that is the best part, actually. You don't have to draw real things. You can make things up and draw them. I should say carve, because we're carving. Hoping I can get this whole thing done. Usually it takes about an hour to do a piece this size. So we'll see. The tip is rounded, yes. It's a football shape, so it has a little bit of a round to it. All right, so we're going to have some flowers in here. Don't have to, but I'm going to put some in here. So I'm just going to go ahead and do a circle, and then this is a basic like cone flower, echinacea, daisy sort of flower. I played around with some other flower shapes, and they just didn't, I don't know. I tried to do a pointed leaf petal or a petal like a cherry blossom. and it wasn't working. And I just moved on, because if something doesn't work, don't force it. So I'm just going to place these randomly, but they will all connect in the end. So when I first started carving, do you know the first thing I used back when I was in college, because I was a poor college student that had no budget, I just used the needle tool to carve with, and I did that for years. That's probably why I had carpal tunnel and had to have surgery a few years back. But now, I just use my Diamond Core tools, and they're brilliant. We definitely got to put one here. How do you make a colored slip? You've been painting underglaze on and doing Sgraffito carving. So I have a slip recipe on ClayShare.com under ClayShare resources. That is free. You can go download it, but you make your own slip. And you could do the easy way, where you take white clay and just add some mason stain or colorant to it. You could also buy the engobes that Mako sells, or you could make your own engobes. But I've made my own slips and engobes. I've also nowadays, I mostly buy my pre-mixed stuff, because I honestly don't have time in my schedule to make things from scratch, but I do recommend it, especially if you're starting. All right, so let's go ahead and join some of these flowers in. Then we'll do a little leaves. So do you see I'm just connecting? I'm just grabbing the flower, and just putting a line down. This one doesn't have a place to go though, does it? So what's going to happen to him? He's just floating in space. So we're going to have to figure out something for that one. It'll work itself out. Ooh, we don't have one there. We'll have to put one there. So this one's going to go over here like that. I kind of think of it as a puzzle that I have to solve whenever I carve. Like, how will this piece turn out? Because each thing is a little different. So I think this is going to end up being that right there. Some flowers have 6, some have 7, sure. Can you trace somehow before carving? You cannot draw. Yes, Stephanie, you can. Actually, the plastic I'm using right here. And if you go watch my Mishima class, my intro, I just draw with a Sharpie. Look. Kev, if you grab me a Sharpie, I'll give you guys a quick how-to. So what I do is I draw, but if you don't draw and you have a picture you want to trace onto there, as long as you have permission to use the image and everything, you'll go ahead and you can use the plastic from your clay bags. When you're done with clay, you just cut them and you go ahead and wipe them off and you lay them flat, and you can use that for tracing plastic. This is the plastic that you use. Oh, my pen will work. Yeah, the microns should work. I like Sharpies. Oh, a gold Sharpie. That should work too. I like the plastic because it's cheap and everybody can get it. I like Sharpies for the same reason. So you lay your plastic down and then you trace along. And this might work a little better. And then you just trace the design that you have, whatever that might be. And let me shift that. See, now you can see that design right here. And then what I do is I take a ballpoint pen. I'll put my piece on, right? I'll take a ballpoint pen. Here, I'll do it on this. Do I have a ballpoint pen? Let me grab one. Sorry, I have to get up because I do have one, but it's just not there. All right, take a ballpoint pen and you go ahead, line it up where you want it to be. So we're just gonna come right in here. And I want it to go here. And then you just lightly trace. You could use a pencil too, actually. And I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but I'll lift it up for you. There you go. Do you see the slight impression on here? So now, if I pressed a little harder, you'd see it a bit more. But now I have guidelines. I have something to follow. So then, once you do that, you can take whatever you're using for a tool, and then you just follow that, which is what I'm going to do. Like that. So absolutely, you do not have to draw. And I do suggest, check out the Mishima class, because Mishima is a little different than Sgraffito. It's actually the opposite. And Mishima is a Japanese technique. I don't do it the traditional way. I'm sure I don't even say it the way they do in Japan. I learned it as an inlay. So really it's just like an inlay technique, but you could use that too. So look, we figured out what we were doing with that. Remember, we didn't know. I was trying to figure it out. So now that I did that, I feel like I have to go and do this and put swirls coming off all of the flowers, which is really fine. We'll go into the center. Let's actually put a flower over here. So sometimes when I do them, I do 5, I do 6, I do 7 petals. If you look at flowers in real life, although they usually have X amount of petals, things happen to flowers. They live lives, and sometimes they lose a petal. Sometimes a bug eats a petal. So I am completely fine with something happening to a petal and it not being there. And that's, I mean, I think it's fine. I don't want to get hung up on that. Now, if your whole thing is doing botanical illustration and that's your thing that you're really excited about and you want to get it correct, then of course you're going to do it differently. This is the technique you use when you want to transfer a portion of a photo you took. Exactly. So you can take a photo, you could take a drawing, anything you have. This is how you can do a simple, easy image transfer. You don't have to worry about decals, although I'm a big decal fan, you know that, but if you don't want to do decals, this is a way to go. And I've done, if you know my soldier series, a lot of that early work was all done using the technique with the plastic where I traced it on. So you can check that out. All right, so we've got some good stuff happening. I've got to connect that one over here. Let's go ahead, and I want to, in these spaces here, really make them pop. So I'm going to grab my, here they all are, the L2, which is the one with the crown. The crown is a really nice, wide, kind of flared out tool, and it's really great if you want to remove a bunch of material. So we're going to do that here. I'm just going to take, and I'm just going to remove some of the underglaze where I did that second layer of petal to try to create some depth in there. So you can see some of that is now gone. So I will remove that. And you could use something else. One of the smaller tips, it's just this wider tip, does a really nice job of removing more material. So that's why I'm using it. Oh, by the way, I've never worn out a Diamond Core tool. Not one of these diamond styluses. Diamond Core tool has finger brushes. Do I use those? I am old school with my chip brush. I've tried to adapt to, I have the finger brushes. I love Diamond Core tools. I love everything they make, and I think they're fabulous. But my brain, after 20 years, I'm trying to relearn things, but I would tell you start with those because you just put it on your finger and you just flick, and it's great. But often when I carve, I will just have the brush in my other hand, and then I will scoot all of the little carvings off to the side, all the little crumbs. And I try to go in the same direction. And then when I get a little pile of them, I take my plate and I go to my water and I brush it off. Now, I want to carve everything while it's leather hard, but not a dry leather hard, because once we get into dry leather hard, you start creating a lot of dust. So I don't really want to create a lot of dust. If by chance you are at that point to carve, then I would suggest you wear a mask rated for silica dust, and you do carving in a ventilated area. So for me, I just go outside and I'll put my mask on if it gets too dry and I didn't carve it yet. But usually I really try to plan things so that I don't have to do that. This is borderline only because I let it wait for this broadcast, so it's a little drier than I like, but not yet too dry. Hi everybody watching. Oh my gosh, so many people are here tonight. Yeah. So I hope you guys give this a try. So we're going to finish removing this. And this piece, I don't think I'll get everything done. I do suggest if you get some carving tools, any carving tools you have, you should take a little tile or just a tiny little plate, and you should practice carving on that before you get into bigger things. And just draw a few lines with the tool to see how, it feels in your hand, to see what the line looks like. We've got a couple more to get to. Go this way. I find carving really soothing. I think that's why I still do it. It's one of my favorite things to do. Actually, I think it is my favorite thing to do, is to carve. If I could have somebody else make all my pots, no, I actually like making the pots too, but I really, really do love the carving. All right, so we're gonna switch over and I'm gonna use the ball end in the L1. And this is the one I like to do for like in here to get some teeny tiny little detail lines. And I'm just putting some lines inside the petals here. Look at the difference though. Oh, I gotta get into that one. The detail that you get. I see a bunch of folks are watching on vacation. This is a great way to spend your vacation. Watching carving videos. So if you look, see if I can get it so you can see. There you go. All right, so you see over in here, we've got the lines inside the little petals. And then over here, we don't have them. And you see the difference? You see how it really adds something to it? Now, this one here, this plate I'm gonna grab, you'll notice I removed a lot more of the background material, and it just depends what you're looking for and what you're trying to create for a design. So some people like to do a Sgraffito where they remove almost all the background material and you just have a little bit of subject in there that you've carved. It depends for me. This is a really fun project because I did the same design as a Sgraffito as I did as a Mishima, and that's what I'll be doing in the next broadcast. So you can see the differences. Those of you who are watching that are ClayShare members, you guys are going to see how the same pattern looks just done two different ways, and it might help you decide which type of carving you like best, because I go back and forth. I love Sgraffito because once you carve and then you bisque fire it, you just glaze it and you're done. With the inlay that I do, I go and hand color all of it, so then there's another hour of work. So if your piece is getting too dry while you're carving, do I ever put my piece back in a damp box? So what I do, Melanie, is I will do this. I will take my plastic and I will cover up the part I'm not actually carving right that second, and I will keep it covered, and I'll work one section, and then after I clean off my crumbs, I'll turn it and then work the next section. So that way it doesn't dry out, because that does happen, and it can be frustrating when you're trying to work to have your piece drying right before your eyes. So if you all have any questions, please ask. This is your chance. I'm here, I'm carving. I've got answers if you've got questions. I think we got to put something in here now. So we've kind of done some stuff, but we got to do some more things. I got to put some leaves in here. And I kind of just make these super scraggly leaves on my flowers. They kind of look like they escaped from like someone's unkempt garden, like an overgrown, in the forest kind of garden. So if it gets really dry, can you mist it and let it sit? So the risk with that is the underglaze could smear. If things get really, really dry and that's your only option, then you can try it. But really, I would suggest you just carve it right away if you can. If that's the case, if it's like, oh gosh, it's dry right now, I need to do something about it, just carve it. Because once you get it wet, especially with porcelain clays or clays with porcelain in it, that uneven dampness that can happen if you spray it could cause it to crack. And those of you who were at Open Studio a couple years ago, you got to see that happen to me firsthand. Do you remember? I was working on a piece, and when I put the, on a Mishima piece, and when I did the wiping back and the water got on the plate, it just popped the plate. And that was it. It was done. It was ruined. At the end of carving, of course, like it didn't happen at the beginning. At least it didn't happen in the kiln. So which tool am I using right this second is the L1. That's this one right here. And I mean, they're all really great. You're just going to get a little finer line with the L1. And if you have lots of detail you're trying to get, that's the one to go for. And I'm actually using the larger end of the L1. But yeah, if you want to use the smaller end, you get a little teeny tiny, fine line. right there if you want to use that end. So can you add multiple layers of different colored underglaze? Sure can. So here's the thing. If you want multiple colors, let's see if I have the pieces here, if I stuck them back somewhere. Let me check under as I get up and just like randomly walk off. Oh yeah, here. So here's a couple vases I did that are Sgraffito, and we'll go to camera 2. So these right here, I actually painted the floral elements on and then carved through for these. So that's what I have happening here. So you could do this and paint. We did blobby, do you guys remember the blobby flowers tutorial? Where did I put blobby flowers? I think I took it to the house. But we did blobby flowers, which is basically where we put blobs of color. Oh wait, I got one. On the plate. And then I carved roses. And I got some more down there. So let me show you this one. So this is the blobby flowers tutorial we did. And I just did blobs of red and then kind of oval shaped blobs for green. And then I carved these roses, and then I just carved the veins and the outline of the leaves. And then I did yellow dots. And then after it was glaze fired, I went back and I did do gold. You see that sparkle? A little bit of ooh, little bling on there. And there's the back. But this was the blobby flowers. And then we did the cats. Oh yes, the blobby cats. That was last year. These were a blast to do. So if you don't think you can draw animals, you should meet me, because I am terrible at it. But we did these blobby cats. This is all Sgraffito. So the cats are black blobs that we drew faces on. Blobby kitten, maybe down there. And then we did blobs for our flowers and carved them. And that's what this was. I mean, that was the same shape I'm working on right now, actually, just a little bigger plate. And that's this. And this is out there if you want to learn. You could probably do a better job with the cats than I did. But if you don't want to, you don't have to. You could make it worse than me, and I don't think that's possible. But I think it kind of frees you up. What else do we got for a Sgraffito party? Well, so technically that's Mishima inlay on this one. But we did blobs, which we carved through. And if you wanted to with Mishima, and that's a whole nother, we'll be doing that next, you could go ahead and do some carving and then inlay with one color, and then you could wax and then inlay with another color. So I know, Lester, ooh, the blobby cats, you never tried yours. Do the blobby cats. I know there's a lot there's a lot of tutorials on ClayShare. Believe me, I know. So if you missed out on doing blobby cats last year, guess what? Blobby cats never go out of style. So take some time. Go do the blobby cats. I was at one point going to do an underglaze decal, but I felt like they're just so bad that nobody actually wants to put those on their pottery. So just do some blobby cats that you can paint. But yeah, you can use all kinds of colors if you want to. And there's a lot of artists out there doing Sgraffito. So, and I think once you start looking, you'll recognize, you'll be like, oh, I know, that's Sgraffito. Now that you know what to look for, right? It's just kind of a scratching through. Yes, after glazing it is smooth. It is. So look. It's smooth. So, you know, you want to make sure that whatever tool you're using to carve doesn't leave a burr or a raised edge, because some tools can do that. And if your tool is leaving a raised edge, look at a different tool. The Diamond Core tools, one of the things I love about them is they don't leave a raised edge for me, when I carve at this level of dryness, I have to put that in there because somebody could carve when it's really wet. And if you're just plowing through the clay when it's super wet, sometimes it does leave a raised edge. So you don't want to carve then anyways. You want to let it dry just a tiny bit. I think I'm going to go ahead and add some more flowers on here. Why not? Oh, that was fun. Look at that one I just did. Just did that right there. The rim template. So this rim template is from ClayShare Market, and GR Pottery Forms has some great templates too, and they have forms as well. So this one was made with the oval RD2 from GR Pottery. So that's what I used on this one. And the Netta rim template, which I think we're going to have out. Well, I'm filming the porcelain paper clay class tomorrow, so I don't know if I'll put the Netta rim templates up tomorrow as a physical template you can purchase. You can get them now as a download, but if we get the filming done, then yeah, I can get this up. So that'll be exciting. The paper clay class is going to be next week, recorded, so you won't have to tune in. You just watch whenever you want. So I'm thickening a few of these lines. I decided some of them look a little skinny, so I'm going to make them more vine-like by just going back and scratching a little thicker. And you see how that now, if you can see how, yeah, now you see how that pops compared to any of the others? That's because I made it a little thicker. So I'm just going to go back, and all I'm doing is taking the tool and making short strokes through there, and just ever so slightly widening the line. Much more pop happening. Then I'm going to do a little, almost like a little fern coming off here, a few little swirlies. Oh, those are nice. See those? It'll look much better once it's bisque fired. It'll start to pop. Just knowing that this color is going to go a dark, dark blue, and that the clay is going to be really white. And I'll share these. I'm going to try to get them done before I leave for Wisconsin. So we'll see if I can do that. I have a lot to do though, so might have to wait till I get back. Regarding paper clay, do you have to use porcelain? No. Will it work with low fire? Paper clay can be made with any clay at all. Any clay you use, it doesn't matter. I use porcelain because porcelain is the most difficult clay for me when I'm making sprigs and other things to attach, and it likes to try to crack. Low fire clay, usually when I'm doing big pieces or a lot of additions to the piece, I don't get that cracking, so I don't usually need it, but there's no reason, that's not a reason not to make paper clay if you do low fire and you want to use it. I mean, a paper clay will make your sculptural pieces lighter, and believe it or not, they're actually stronger because the fibers of the clay, and when they dry, they're less likely to warp and crack. So we're going to be doing that. That class will be recorded because I'll be in Wisconsin next week, so you all will watch Dimitri on Diamond Core Tools. Nikolai, sorry. You'll be watching Nikolai on Kevin's catching me. He knows. He's like, oh man, she's going to get everything wrong. She's going to say the wrong name. Sorry, Nikolai. We got you though. Kevin's watching, so he's keeping me on task here. But Nikolai will be doing a demonstration next week because I won't be here. But you will have that recorded paper clay class that will go up. I'm not sure what day we're going to put that up. You'll have to tune in and see. I will share it on social media. All right, so I'm going to keep going on this over the evening. You remember both of those, so cute. You're making mini pumpkins while you watch. You can't wait for the birdhouse class? Yes. So after I biscuit, will I put a clear glaze over it? Yeah, I will. So here's a finished one, and it just has a clear glaze on top, but you could do a celadon. I know this is a little different technique, but here's a clear glaze on this one, and this one I use the celadon that is my Himalayan blue poppy. So it's a blue celadon. Do you see how it changes the piece a little bit? So I could actually use this instead of clear. So what would happen? All of this that's bright white would now be this soft blue. So you would have a dark blue with a light blue. Where everything's white, it'll be light blue. So it'll be a little more subtle, not as contrasty. So you absolutely could go that way if you like that better. If you didn't want to have such a change in contrast, and you could do that. And you could do other colors. Like if you did yellow, do you know what's going to happen to your blue? It'll probably get a little greenish, and then your white would be yellow. So that could be a really fun thing too. So you could play with that. So there's lots of glaze options. A transparent glaze, like a clear, is great, but any celadon can work as well. And it gives you like nice options, doesn't it? You made teapot beads out of paper clay. Yes, awesome. You're waiting to see the tools in action before buying. Well, I will tell you, we've got a couple minutes. We're gonna do the giveaway. All right, so I will tell you all the Diamond Core tools are great. If you get, so this is my L3. You can see, I took the back one off. I think actually I lost it. I took it off and lost it. So this is mine, and I've had this one so long. It doesn't even say, let me clean it. Does it even say? No, it doesn't even say L3 on it. Oh yeah, it does right there. I was like, it's that old. But this is mine that I use, and then this is the Diamond Core Tools set. You get these three, but not the one that I've been using. You get a new one in the set. So we're going to give away a set of these, brand new. Next steps for this piece, once you're completely done carving, what I do is I drape it with plastic. I use weight bags on hand-built pieces because I don't want them to warp. If it was a wheel-thrown piece, I would just cover it with plastic. I wouldn't worry at all about the warping because a wheel-thrown piece most likely won't warp. So I'm just gonna cover this after we're done. And then once it's completely dry, you bisque fire it. And then after bisque firing, you glaze it however you want to glaze. It's entirely up to you. What clear glaze do I use on porcelain? I use the7, which is a recipe on ClayShare. Now in mine, I use Guernsey borate. I know Guernsey borate is no longer available in most places, so you could switch to Gillespie borate. And if you can't get that, find whatever borate substitute your ceramic supplier recommends. I actually have 5 bags of Guernsey borate. Don't come looking at my studio, I'm not selling it, but I have enough Guernsey borate for like my lifetime. I bought a lot of it. So I'm going to be using Guernsey borate in my glazes and in my slips, hopefully for the rest of my life. But I understand, you know, when we make things for pottery, mines run out of material or mines get sold and then you can't get those materials anymore, which makes it really challenging if you're somebody who wants to make your own glazes and things. And I'm not trying to be flippant at all saying I'm just going to use Guernsey borate, that you have to use something else. It's just after over 2 decades of doing this, I've learned that if you have a material that you love and it's vital to your process, if you can, stock up on it because you never know. G200 went away. I bought a whole bunch of it when it was getting like scarce, and it came back, but it might be gone again. I don't know. So for me, that was a really important thing. But really, a zinc-free clear will work great. So any zinc-free clear you can get. What do I do with the shavings because they're colored? Yeah, they're blue. And so this is just water with a tiny bit of blue clay in there. Really can't do anything with this. I couldn't reclaim this tiny amount of clay. So I live in Vermont. I live in the woods. The underglaze I use is non-toxic. So I dump it outside. I mean, it's non-toxic. All I'm going to do is have a little bit of blue. If you're in, and I recommend using non-toxic materials for that reason. So if you cannot do that, get a trap of some sort for your sink to collect things if you're going to dump this down your sink, or you get something like, I have a Diamond Core Tools CINK sink, and I can dump this in there, and then the filters will catch it all. And so I just clean those out. So yeah, I know. Is that helpful? All right. Well, let's give some stuff away. Who's getting which one's first, Kev? The one on top is the set? Yep. Okay, good, because I want to give this away and I want to do it right. So the first winner tonight is going to be a set of 3 Diamond Core Tools, Diamond Stylus Tools. And, you know, we'll have giveaways next week too. I won't be doing the announcement because I won't be here, but it's going to happen. Nikolai's going to have to fill my shoes and be me. So I'm going to send him an apron and some glasses so that he can do it. Just kidding. Yeah. The first winner of that set tonight is Cynthia Caldwell. Cynthia, congratulations. You're going to get this set. I can't wait to see what you carve with it. You're going to love it. And then the next prize we're giving away is this fabulous Diamond Core Tools Soolla bag. So fabulous. It holds a lot. And if you don't believe me, go back and watch any of the giveaways from this year's ClayShare Con. You will see me stuffing everything in this bag. Like mug plugs are going in there, underglazes are going in there, your tools are going in there, pints of glaze are going in there. I stuffed everything, and I noticed something different. Do you notice this fabulous long strap? So you could wear this crossbody if you want, or you can always hand carry it. But I love that addition of that long strap so that, you know, if you want to use the strap or if you just want to do a shoulder bag. And also, this is pretty cool. You could just take this instead of your purse, or if you're going out shopping, pottery supplies, some vintage shopping, some thrifting. This could be a great thrifting bag. So this winner tonight of this bag, not this one, but one like this, because I'm keeping this one, is Marianne Busby. Marianne, congratulations. You get this cool bag from Diamond Core Tools. You're going to love it. You can put all your Diamond Core Tools in it. Actually, if you haven't seen it up close, have you seen all the little pockets in here? There are pockets all along the front for your tools. There's pockets on the side. There's pockets along the back. There's pockets on the inside. There's more tools in here because, you know, why not put your tools in if you can? There's so much in there. Such a great bag. So congratulations to Marianne and congratulations to Cynthia. You ladies are going to enjoy these prizes, and we'll have another giveaway next Wednesday. Now the Wednesday after, I will be back, and so we'll have more demos and fabulousness. So stay tuned. If you're not following ClayShare on social media yet, do that so you know when there's giveaways so you don't miss out. Be sure to follow Diamond Core Tools as well and subscribe to the emails on clayshare.com so you can be entered in the giveaways. All right, going to take a little break and we're going to do, Mishima. That's right. Here's a little Mishima inlay. That's what we're going to do next. We're going to do it on a plate though, but this gives you an idea what it looks like. All right, I'll be back in a few minutes for that. Everybody else, I'll see you in 2 weeks. Have a great time, make some great pots, and share it with the hashtag MadeWithClayShare. Bye, everybody.